Lincoln 30 to dispatch. Yeah, that's a wild goose chase over here at Nakatomi Plaza. Everything here's okay. Over. Let it snow, let it snow, let it... Yeah, goddamn everything is Welcome to the party, pal!
I'm not ready to make now. Hey, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Good to see you guys here. That's right. That's right, Lindsay. Pop your popcorn. This one is going to be a spicy. Okay. For those of you guys just tuning in for the very first time, this is the Raging Buddha. I'm Nora Ames, and we're coming to you live from the box office. We're gonna rage a little bit here, guys. I got a lot of stuff to talk about. There's a lot of rumors flying. There's a lot of innuendos and all of that. So we'll start out with everyone's favorite topic, Aaron Smith-Levin. Okay. So for those of you guys who have not been following along in the game of what the fuck is Aaron doing now, we're going to go back to June 27th, which was 3 whole days ago. Where Aaron did a video entitled lovingly, Contempt of Court, going back to jail. Okay, none of that happened. He was not charged with contempt. He was not going back to jail. Okay, but it was a great clickbait title. He got, a good 17,656 views out of that. So congrats, Aaron, for bamboozling your audience once again with bullshit. But here's where it gets really tricky. So 44 minutes into this stream, okay, Aaron decides to tell everybody that a question came up here just before this comment that was like, you should appeal. And the comments were in general telling him, appeal, 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 appeal. And he said, okay, he read this comment. Has the guilty verdict been appealed yet? No. I don't think we're going to appeal. It's $5,000. I'm not spending the money. I'm not raising the money. And it's not worth it for the long shot. It's just not worth it for the long shot. It really isn't. It's like weird, right? Because like if the appeal were to be accepted, then it would be worth it. But it's like a 1% chance, and it's just not worth the $5,000. Okay. So just for everybody out there, he says distinctly, not going to appeal. It costs $5,000. He's not paying that. He's not fundraising for that. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Okay, except kids, what happened yesterday is he fucking filed a notice of appeal. Now, here's the problem with this, okay? What counts the most right now is not whether or not we think Aaron Smith-Levin has a case to appeal, that he has the right to appeal, none of that, okay? This is a problem of dates for him. It's simply a matter of too bad, so sad, too late for this man. Okay, because as we can see here, these are all the things that have happened in this case. Okay, so let's rewind. Okay, so right here is when he was sentenced. Okay, and then on the 22nd, judgment for fine and or cost, judgment of guilt, and placing defendant on probation. So between the 14th and the 22nd, this is the official date. Let's just, even though this was filed, okay, he was officially, the judgment of guilt and placing the defendant on probation came 8 days later. 8 days later, okay? You have 30 days from that date. That's when the clock starts ticking. 30 days to file an appeal. Now, if we look, we had a motion. These were the motions to deny to disqualify judge. That was already ruled on. The other motion, okay, was filed and heard on the 28th, 30 days after the original judgment, okay, was May 22nd. There is no official appeal. The only thing that they have in here before that, okay, Second District Court of Appeals assignment of appeal number. So that happened already late. Already we're days late on the appeal, which may be why the writ of prohibition was automatically denied the same day it was filed. Okay? Which is here. Okay? Which is here. This is the appeal, okay? And that was filed the same day it was denied. Why? Because you ran out of time. Not because your writ of prohibition was a garbage fest of complete, just absolute inane arguments. That could have, it was denied because guess what? It's fucking late. And they're not going to deal with this. You're not a special exception. You're not a special fucking fragile flower. Okay? So now, because that was denied, that doesn't reset the appeal clock. You have 30 days total. 30 days total. In the state of Florida, in their criminal division, 30 days from the judgment to file, to say, I'm appealing. 30 days. There are no clock resets. Okay? Even with the motions that happened before. Let's give Aaron the benefit of the doubt. Even with I'm on the wrong tab here. Even with the motions that he filed before, okay, which was denied on the 28th, that means he would have had to file by the 29th because every day, 30 days have September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31. Okay? So if we're going 30 days, even if in Aaron's mind he had 30 whole days to file something new, that would mean he would have had to file by the 29th of June after this was denied. What day did he file? The 30th. He's late again. He's late again. So it's going to be denied again. But here's the interesting part here. Okay? So this is the certified copy of notice of appeal. This is the big, this is the one that has all of the stuff in it. I want you guys to notice this, okay? Because this will be an automatic denial. All right, this is the official docket here. Not yet assigned, okay? So the accompanying notice of appeal was filed on this date. A certified electronic copy of the notice accompanies this form. An appellate filing fee appears to be required, but has not yet been paid. Okay. This is what they're appealing, a judgment and sentence appeal. Okay. And the deputy clerk accepted this. And then this is the official notice of appeal. He wants to appeal a sentence from April 14th. So the sentence was officially rendered on April 14th. 30 days after that, guys, that was my birthday, May 14th. We are way past all of these things. And somehow Jerry is still doing this. Jerry, shame on you, Jerry. If Aaron is paying you money, shame on you. You know there's no fucking way that this is going to be accepted. So be ready, fans of Aaron Smith Levin who are here. Get ready for the griftorama. I changed my mind, guys. I decided to do the appeal. Jenna's going to come on and talk about how important it is for him not to have a criminal record. And we got to get this overturned so that he can go. Because if he doesn't go to flag, nothing gets done. We don't have any protests without Aaron Smith Levin. This is insane. This is a waste of the court's time, guys. This is a complete fucking waste of our legal system's time. Okay? So that's case number 1. Now let's go. Let's go to Aaron's slander case against Scott Hochstetter's slander case against Aaron Smith Levin. Okay. So this was originally filed 2 days after he was convicted. Scott put this in because, Scott's a big man and ready to file as soon as somebody's in the fucking clink. Anyway, so, oh, shit balls off the. I'll fix it later. I'm sure somebody's going to try and do a privacy strike. That's fine. I fix it after. I'll edit it after. So, as you can see, the summons was officially issued, okay, on the 28th. All right, because the first one got rejected or something. It wasn't filed properly. So Scott did it again. Okay. And Aaron was served on the 13th of last month because today's July 1st, guys. Okay. So it is now Aaron has 20 days after that has been served officially, and it's in the record as served officially, whether Aaron's like, I didn't pick it up, it sat on my driveway, I don't give a fuck. The court accepted it as served. Okay. 20 days, which would mean since June has 30 days, okay, so it's 17 days was yesterday. Today is 18 days. So that leaves 2 more days, guys, which means Friday. If Aaron does not do a response to this by Friday, the next action that Scott can do, which I'm predicting he will, if Aaron does not file anything by the Friday deadline, Scott can move for a default judgment. Now, in this case, guys, which I have downloaded, let me pull that up here. Okay. So where I have, and this is where that ridiculous letter came from and all of that other stuff. So let's just look at this here. Let's look at the Scott Hochstetter versus Aaron Smith Levin. Now, this is not doxing here because Scott uses it's interesting that he used his P.O. box address for the official filing, but somehow used a different address for another filing, which I find ironic. I think it's just auto put in. Yeah, and the courts are closed on Friday, but that's 20 calendar days. So technically, he has today and tomorrow. So he's fucked up. He's fucked at the drive-thru if he doesn't get this done today or tomorrow. Aaron, I'm helping you out, bro. Okay? As much as you think I'm hell-bent on your destruction, you have literally less than 48 hours to file a response to this of some sort, an extension, anything, or Scott is going to get a default judgment. And then you're really fucked. Yeah, he used his parents' address and then he used this one. So let me pull this up here. So let's go over this Fakakta case here that Scott is filed here. Okay. So this is the filing that was filed. Okay. So in the circuit court of the 6th Judicial Circuit, blah, 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 Scott Thomas Hochstetter versus Aaron Smith Levin and the SPTV Foundation. It's 2 defendants in this case, not just Aaron. It's Aaron and the SPTV Foundation. So Scott is suing both Aaron and his charity. Okay. Here's the complaint, guys. Are we ready? Complaint for defamation per se, defamation by implication, false light, and intentional infliction of emotional distress, tortious interference with business relationships, injunctive and declaratory relief, civil conspiracy, demand for jury. Scott is mad, guys. Delicious. I'm having some mineral water with a wedge of lime. So refreshing. Okay. Uh-oh. I got the pith. Okay. Plaintiff Scott Thomas Hochstetter, a.k.a. Defender of Ants, a.k.a. the Lore of DOA, sues defendants Aaron Smith Levin, Defendant Levin, and SPTV Foundation, Inc., Defendant SPTV. Okay, that's how they'll be referred to. And alleges as follows. This court has subject matter jurisdiction pursuant to Article 5 of the Florida Constitution. This court has personal jurisdiction over defendants because they are domiciled in Florida and committed tortious acts within Florida. Venue is proper in Pinellas County pursuant to Section 47.011, Florida statutes, blah, 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 blah. This is about the entities. And Jenna Miscavige and Natalie Webster, because they were on the board at the time. Okay. During their tenure as board members, their respective YouTube channels, Jenna Miscavige with 51,900 subscribers and Life After a Cult with 20,600 subscribers were publicly linked to the official website of the SPTV Foundation. This is correct. Okay. The standard background of Defendant Levin's live streams created at his home features a neon SPTV insignia. Webster and Miscavige also used the terms SPTV community on their channels. Okay. So this is the anti-slap exemption. Defendant Levin and SPTV's conduct does not constitute protected activity under Florida statutes. Plaintiff seeks relief solely for false statements of verifiable fact, false implications, and fabricated allegations of criminal conduct. Defendant Levin and SPTV made statements for non-governmental purposes, including monetized content creation, harassment, reputation, destruction, and audience influence. Defendant Levin and SPTV published the statements with actual malice, including knowledge of falsity and reckless disregard for the truth. Defendant Levin and SPTV failed to verify easily ascertainable facts, including allegations of illegal drug use, allegations of criminal stalking, implications of sexual or criminal misconduct, allegations of large donations from a man who claimed his purpose was to destroy the anti-Scientology movement in the amount of $15,000. Defendant Levin and SPTV conduct constitutes, hang on guys, I got to make this smaller so I can, I'm going to move it over here. There we go. Oh, here we go. There we go. Constitutes publication, defamatory publication, and commercial exploitation, which is not protected under Florida's anti-SLAPP statute. Levin and SPTV facilitated and amplified third-party defamatory statements, endorsed them, and failed to correct them after publication. The statements were made in connection with revenue-generating broadcasts, subscriber growth, donations, memberships, and promotion of the SPTV brand, and were therefore made commercial and reputational gain for commercial and reputational gain rather than for purposes of petitioning the government. Defendants' publications were made to a global internet audience and were designed to influence viewers, damage plaintiff's reputation, and financially benefit defendant Levin and SPTV through monetized online media. Now, Scott, this point right here, if I were Aaron and I'm filing a counter motion against you, that's my entire point about your entire content. Like, this is standing on some weak facts, Scott, but it's well written. I'll give you that. Factual allegations. Okay, here we go. April 30th, 2024, plaintiff, a victim of swatting. On or about April 30th, 2024, defendant Levin states on a live stream, I got to give DOA a shout out, as well as DOA has really been a very important presence at these protests. He's out there every single day. He's out there every single night. He's gone to multiple cities. The poor guy gets swatted about once a week. On or about June 13th. So I guess I don't know what this is supposed to show, that one time Aaron was pro Scott. Fine. Defendant Levin stayed in the fight. Scotty doxing 86 GOP, in my opinion, is completely unacceptable. Someone who has been one of your biggest supporters, who made the occupation on L. Ron Hubbard Way even possible. I think 86 GOP donated over half the funds to make that happen. Defendants accused plaintiff Scott of doxing while plaintiff was in California. Penal Code 653.2, electronic distribution of personal identifying information to incite harassment, addresses the allegation. Defendants, that's Aaron and SBTV, accused plaintiff of displaying picture of a man named David Comer, who uses the monkey or 86 GOP, and alleged that the plaintiff doxed Mr. Comer. Comer communicated with defendants and donated thousands of dollars to defendant SBTV, according to defendant Levin. This is true. Plaintiff was also receiving significant donations from Comer, but felt concerned that Comer may be collaborating with Scientology to influence plaintiff, and consequently decided that he no longer wanted any association with Comer. Defendants Levin and SPTV initiated a campaign of defamation and slander by claiming that plaintiff was destroying the movement because he turned away his largest donor. These statements caused a drastic loss of support and negatively affected plaintiff's reputation. Also, you've just lost your case, Scott, because you said they claimed it. They didn't state it as a fact. But anyway, on or about June 27th, defendant Levins and SPTV broadcast a live stream on the YouTube channel entitled DOA Scott Hochstetter Needs to Stop Hurting This Community, with more than 39,000 views. During the broadcast, defendants stated the following about plaintiff: 3-day meth-fueled paranoid psychotic break. Scotty has said on a bazillion of his videos that prior to his manic paranoid behavior breakdown that he himself admits led him to thinking his old ex-Sea Org second-gen Scientology girlfriend was a Russian spy sent in to destroy the encampment, him and the protest movement, that sent him an unidentifiable bag of powder. He's the one that said that. That is true. Scott did say that. Scott has admitted that he said that and that he was wrong, but he did say that. At first, he said he just threw it away. Then someone called him out on the live stream that he actually had some of it, and he had to admit that. He said, yes, he had to test it to see what it was. Well, I'm sorry. His behavior from that point on does not, to me, indicate that someone has tried a little bit of meth, then threw the rest away. Lack of sleep could not explain plaintiff's behavior and instead suggests a drug-induced paranoia spiral. Thank you, Jess. Scott has lied to all of you about what went down in court. He's lied to all of you, okay? The law firm that was hired to represent Danny is a firm that has already represented clients against Scientology, clients who were being harassed by Scientology and who are being litigated against by Kendrick Moxon. That is also true. Defendants asserted plaintiff used meth further, implied plaintiff's conduct could only be explained by methamphetamine use. Defendants dismissed alternative explanations for plaintiff's behavior and escalated the narrative to suggest that he was experiencing a drug-induced psychosis. Defendant Levin and SPTV presented these statements as objective facts rather than subjective opinions. The statements were false. Levin and SPTV instructed viewers to confront plaintiff by saying, ask Scott about it, guys. Ask Scott why he first claimed that he didn't try any of it and he had no idea what the suspicious powder substance was. Then later, when someone called him out on a live stream for actually having some of it, he had to sort of reluctantly and embarrassingly admit that he had, but he threw the rest of it away. Sure you did. Okay, well, it has been alleged by the late Mike Rinder that Aaron Smith Levin claimed to be, and I'm quoting, the king of cocaine and hookers in Colombia. Oh, God damn it. Sorry, guys. So if Aaron is speaking from experience in that matter, I don't know. Aaron has never denied nor confirmed cocaine use in the United States or any other country. So Yeah. Defendant allowed, encouraged, and I don't see how telling people to ask Scott about something is, you're literally asking the people to verify whether this is correct or not with the person who's accused of doing it. That's kind of weak. Defendant allowed, encouraged, and amplified live chat accusations of illegal drug use, including but not limited to not slander. Look up the definition. Accusing someone of being a drug addict is not slander. Drug abuse can explain that behavior. The meth he found in his van made him paranoid. Meth is terrible for one's health. If his fans can't see there's a problem, they don't care about him at all. Meth will cause a psychotic break. He admitted he used meth. Later, he said he didn't. He was 100. One Hyundai P was on a meth binge. I used to do it years ago. Bipolar mania can cause days without sleep, but drugs do as well. These are people in the comments. No way he just sampled it without taking a small personal amount. He's obviously mentally unstable. Is it healthy to bring attention to it? I've seen 3 friends have meth-induced psychotic breaks. It's real sad. It's real and sad. If he took any of the meth, he was digging in that trash can for whatever he threw away shortly thereafter. Which people on meth, guys, it's very addictive. It's a very dangerous substance. I don't actually think it's a joke. If anybody's on meth and you guys need help with that, please reach out to a licensed professional drug counselor and get into rehab as soon as possible, because that is, a serious condition that you should absolutely seek help for. Yeah, that's what I want to say about that. Defendants failed to correct their false statements despite their serious nature. Moreover, defendant instructed viewers to confront plaintiff and challenge him regarding alleged drug use. As a result, plaintiff suffered repeated defamatory accusations, ongoing harassment, and public shame, and significant harm to his reputation and his business. Now, if I recall correctly, Scott, you did several streams calling yourself a meth addict, mocking that, making fun of it, laughing at it, which people have recorded. You kind of lose your case right here. You kind of lose your case a lot right here, Scott. Okay. You made, I don't have a count. I don't have an exact count, Scotty. But yeah, you fucking did those. If anybody else in the chat remembers those streams where Scott was like, "Hey, I'm a meth addict. Look at me," and like doing crazy shit, please put a 1 in the chat if you guys remember that. As a result of defendant's actions, plaintiff lost over 1,600 subscribers and was ostracized within the anti-Scientology activist community, including by other prominent channels such as Miscavige and Webster, who had previously supported and shared plaintiff's content. Okay, so other situation here, Scott. It wasn't just these drug accusations. Your behavior and your first of all, your behavior towards Lara, let's all be honest, and the way you fucked with her was a line in the sand for a lot of us. And we were not going to forgive that. And even after you guys got back together, I personally, no trust. Okay. I said it when you first popped in. I didn't think you were a good person. That's my personal opinion. People can do with that what they want. Okay? But this was not... Did you lose the subs because Aaron had a temper tantrum on his channel about you allegedly using meth? Maybe. Or did people finally decide they didn't like what you were doing and they unsubscribed? That's, you don't have hard proof that that subscriber loss was direct consequence of, Aaron's actions. That's a correlation, not a causation, right? Plaintiff was averaging 1,000 people in his live streams, and his live stream audience decreased by half after the initial statements of meth use. Yeah, people take methamphetamine use very seriously. Okay. Plaintiff's acronym DOA was blocked in numerous live chats to prevent others from commenting about him, further harming his reputation for those trying to defend plaintiff after false statements. So what? That wasn't a coordinated effort. People got sick and tired of your shit. And you're not the topic of discussion. So you don't get to be in charge and say that anybody who blocks you is harming you financially. You are harming you financially with your fucking actions and grotesque behavior towards people, Scott. It's not about this is whinier than I thought. Plaintiff has never recovered from the defendant's defamatory remarks. Plaintiff's channel had been growing steadily, gaining approximately 1,000 to 1,500 subscribers per month. This group was disrupted by the direct result of the defamatory conduct. Plaintiff had previously appeared on the channels of FPTV Foundation board members. However, after the defamatory statements were made, those board members disassociated themselves from the plaintiff. Scott, I don't think. It doesn't really matter what I mean. Okay, July 3rd, 2024. On or about that time, defendant and SPTV, along with SPTV board member Miscavige, in a video titled Calling Out DOA Scott Hochstetter, which has over 12,000 views, made the following false statements. Oh, Scott, you have a typo in here. Why is the one in there? About the plaintiff. A, that is someone who's an enemy of the entire movement, meaning that language, that activity, that is what an enemy of the movement actually sounds like. Pretending to want to help kids who grew up in Scientology. This person has joined a movement and now dedicated themselves to destroying the movement. Now that makes it sound like he's working on behalf of Scientology, trying to destroy second gens and a foundation that's staffed by second gens. Like, it really is what evil looks like in this movement, and it absolutely deserves to be called out, and people need to know that they need to stand up to it. I believe, Scott, that this was the time period in which you decided and declared that you were going to engage in bullhorning all second gens at every protest that you could, and anywhere we showed up, there you'd be with a bullhorn to bullhorn us. And you didn't give a fuck about Scientology, and you didn't give a fuck about second gens. You're the protester of protesters. That, guys, I believe in this video, if memory serves me, that is what Aaron Smith-Levin and Jenna Miscavige were responding to, was your threat, Scott, your pledge to come and counter-protest any Scientology survivor to try and defame and demean them publicly with your platform. Seems a little suspicious, but now this is your evidence, Scott. This is evidence you created, which you have conveniently deleted from the world. Okay? People still have it. I have a lot of this downloaded. It's really stupid, Scott. You think that because you deleted it, it's now gone forever? The internet is forever, my friend. The internet is forever. Okay? Like, this is... Okay, on March 10th, Aaron wrote, he did a video titled, Scott Hochstetter charged with 5 hate crimes. That was true. I'm not going to support anyone who supports Scott. Now, this is where Aaron turns into a little pissy baby because of the destruction he's created, not only in the protester community, but in the greater SPTV community, and honestly, even the SPTV Foundation board. I really wanted to do this video today now that we have these charges are not related to putting posters on Scientology's planters. It's targeted harassment, running up to elderly Scientology women, I'm talking about 70s, 80s, who are eating sandwiches on a sidewalk at a table with their kids and screaming at them and calling them predators and all this kind of, and that's not protesting. And then we witnessed later, the next year, what is Aaron Smith Levin doing? What is Aaron Smith Levin doing? I swear to God, these two are the stupidest men I have ever seen on planet Earth. And they are so dumb that not only do they record themselves doing stupid fucking shit that sometimes ends up being illegal, but then they want to put it in writing and file it for a court for everybody to see. This is some dumb shit. This is some dumb shit. Okay. They're false. The statement about it being unrelated. Comer never gave him 15 grand. Then we have a short, guys, with over 12,000 views. Scott Hochstetter admits that he took a meth pipe. This claim, combined with other defamatory remarks, falsely implied that the plaintiff was using meth and continued to do so. Plaintiff was handed a bag of harm reduction supplies from a Los Angeles... Oh, I'm sorry. What, Scott? What? Plaintiff was handed a bag of harm reduction supplies from a Los Angeles certified harm reduction specialist, which contained a glass pipe that plaintiff subsequently discarded. I'm sorry. Scott Hochstetter, is your argument that fucking Pinche Becky is in fact a certified harm reduction specialist after you have done nothing but come for that woman for 2 straight years? You're now going to use in your legal case, thank you for the gifted memberships, that's insane, that now, okay, thank you, Stu Verse, for these 5 gifted memberships, that now in 2026, Scott, you are going to use as point 53 of your legal case that in fact, Pinche Becky is a certified harm reduction specialist. This is, I cannot even believe that. This is literally, wow. There is no low for Scott Hochstetter. There is no low. How long has he spent trying to grind Becky to a fucking pulp publicly? Hey, fans of Scott Hochstetter, did you know that Scott Hochstetter believes on a sworn legal document that Becky is in fact a licensed, okay, a certified, I shouldn't say licensed, a certified Los Angeles harm reduction specialist? Have you told Becky that? Have you apologized to Becky, Scott? Have you had any of your people go apologize to Becky? Because now you're going to use this in your fucking court case to try and justify, you know, what? That Becky handed you a clean meth pipe, an unused meth pipe to try and promote, like, not spreading disease at an encampment that you were inviting unhoused people to come in? No, I know that's what Becky says she is, Christine. What I'm saying is that he has spent 2 years fucking saying that she's not and that she's a fraud and all these other things. This is, I can't even, guys. I can't even believe this. Hang on. The allergies are strong today, y'all. Oh, my God. Plaintiff later found out that this actor was not a certified harm reduction specialist and disassociated himself from her. But why? Why would you say that she is a certified harm reduction? You've already fucked yourself here. The defendants used this woman as an opportunity to claim defendant was creating division in the protest community by plaintiff distancing himself after he realized she was not. Sir, this is very poorly written. On or about June 12th, defendants published a video titled "Scott Hochstetter is stalking Jessica Palmadessa." Plaintiff did not stalk Jessica Palmadessa, which would constitute a crime under California Penal Code. The statement is false. Plaintiff did encounter Palmadessa at a large protest in downtown LA, and it's common for streamers to overlap when covering protests of such scale. Is this the protest, Scott, in which the second that you saw Streets and Jessica, you immediately changed directions and then tried, unsuccessfully to engage in some sort of confrontation with a person in a scream mask, and then Streets said something that was like inciting possible harm against you? Is that the one that we're talking about where you ran your fucking mouth at Streets and Jessica and you guys traded some fucking jabs and then you ran away in your flip-flops from the guy in the fucking scream mask screaming that he had a knife, which you knew was fake? This is just stupid. This is really dumb. On or about February 11th last year, Aaron did a stream. Scott Hochstetter is being arrested with over 19,000 views. Defendant falsely stated the plaintiff was being arrested. She lives with her head firmly planted between DOA's ass cheeks. Any protesters who are willing to be out there, being willing to call out the folks like Scott, who've literally for months and months and months and months been destroying the protest community, and stand and publicly call out DOA, but any of those who have supported Scott, they don't have my support. And I've been very consistent about that. I don't even understand who's the she that Aaron's talking about. You cut that part out. As of March 2nd, defendant has not retracted the video or corrected its title. Scott was not arrested and was a victim of a swatting incident. Also in the live stream, defendant stated, I still firmly believe that Scott's the only one who is calling in the swatting on himself. And that's just my opinion. I could, of course, be wrong on that, but, the cops have had his phones for over a year. Although stated as an opinion, defendant included the factual assertion that the plaintiff's phones had been in police possession for over a year, effectively superseding an opinion with a statement of fact. What? Yeah, your phones were in there for over a fucking year. That's a statement of fact. You can't supersede an opinion because you also state a fact in the same sentence. That's not how English works, Scott. Upon return of the phones, the Los Angeles Police Department advised that the individual had been identified and confirmed that the plaintiff was not the swatter. I'd like to see the paperwork on that. Plaintiff was also live streaming during all the swatting events that defendants covered on his channel and knew that he was the victim of swattings. Defendants were fully aware that plaintiff was a victim of the swattings and covered a specific swatting incident where plaintiff was held at gunpoint with a firearm aimed at his head, creating a life-threatening situation. This incident is found on March 9th, 2024 video entitled "Scientology Protesters Swatted and Detained Again." And Aaron said Scientology did it again to Scotty, defender of ants. Again, they swatted him outside of L. Ron Hubbard Way. I'm going to pull up a comment here. Jody, who says, Aaron, they said that DOA called himself in for having a weapon. The same thing they did with Jay in Denver. Same MO. That's the exact same thing that happened. You know that Scientology is continuing their dirty tactics, weaponizing the police force against the protesters over and over and over. They swatted Jessica Palmadessa. They've swatted DOA twice. They falsely arrested me. They falsely detained Chris without a Hellcat. They falsely detained Josiah. They falsely detained Solomon. Yes, this was a time period, guys, where all of what Aaron just stated absolutely happened. And Scientology was using their connections and their fucking direct, line to cops in their cars via their cell phones to be like, we have a situation, get the fuck over here. Okay. When swatting calls were made, plaintiff could be seen on his live stream without a phone and not placing any calls to law enforcement. Despite this knowledge, defendants maliciously asserted that the plaintiff had engaged in self-swatting, a crime. They knew he didn't do it. Oh my God, this is 40 pages. Streets is the one who started the protest movement. He knows that if he tries to blame and shame Streets, Streets will fucking end him in a second. Okay, so that's Aaron saying that on a live stream. I'm talking about DOA, what happened to Josiah's money, talking about leadership and accountability. What happened to that $6,500 you could have spent on that lawyer? What happened to that money? You don't want to talk about that. I'm going to tell you where that money went. Remember when Danny had that fucked up lawyer that wanted him to take a plea deal against the scooter guy? Remember that? Who DOA was a part of a plant with 86 GOP because 86 GOP paid for it. No, Aaron. I know that's what you said, but you're the one that told Danny and Josiah to take pleas. Please. 86 GOP paid for it. You hired him with the money you raised through GoFundMe. Blah. Okay, so now he's mad at you're bringing Streets into it. It's I guess it's corroboration. I don't know. So let's just see here. Body shaming. Oh, here we go. He announced on multiple live streams, YouTube channel that he planned to attend. Defendants, however, did not. Okay. So this is about the city hall meeting where Scott lost his shit and announced to City Hall that he was going to bullhorn people in a public forum because Aaron and Streets were being a dick to him in the galley while he waited for his turn to speak. And that Scott was calling the Jane Does fat. Really? Is this what we've got? Aaron said you called a Jane Doe fat. I don't think anybody even remembers that part of what you said, Scott. Okay, so then this is when the DOA channel was taken down. Where Kelly Copter admitted that she waited until then. Yeah. Which I still think is bullshit. Then he got more channels taken down. According to him, Aaron took those channels down. It's probably, that's all documented. And then, Then Jenna said that Scott was worse than her uncle. Coordinated with Good. Defendant again publicly revealed the location of plaintiff's vehicle. It placed the plaintiff in danger from whom? Then he was confronted by individuals. Who confronted you? And Twitter users posted photographs of the plaintiff's vehicle, which is plastered, publicly plastered with anti-Scientology, fucking propaganda, which he encourages people to come up and talk to him about. Claims he saved 2 people. Remember that, guys? The 2 ladies that he saved while he was at the car wash that you just didn't happen to turn on his camera for? Oh, no, he's not welcome in Los Angeles. Oh, no. It's like Los Angeles is enormous, and he could have just left. Sabotaging. Okay, so he did another one about Scott. Oh, no. Mexican long hair. This is not even a person who's named in the suit. I think we all owe Alonzo a debt of gratitude for finally helping end Scott's time in this community. Also engaged in harassment. I mean, I can't believe you're not suing him. A channel that has literally been dedicated, Scott, to doing nothing but defaming you, mocking you, all of this shit for literally 2 years. But yet you're going to sue Aaron? Why? Because Mexican Longhair's channel isn't big enough. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Where are you taking Josiah? Okay, this is when Josiah was having, a mental breakdown. That was not good. David Comer gave Scott over $15,000. Comer did not provide plaintiff with $15,000. Do you have receipts for that, Scott? Blah, 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 blah. Good God. We're at point 125. My sincere apologies to Scott Hochstetter. Oh, he did talk about his penis in here. Okay. Defamatory statements. On or about March 20th, 2026, in response to... Oh, shit. Here we go. My sincere apologies. Aaron stated, where his ex-girlfriend Laura, one of the reasons she broke up with him was because he quite literally has the smallest schlong she has ever seen. These statements are false. Okay. One of the reasons, let's be key here. Plaintiff's girlfriend did not break up with plaintiff, and defendant's statement further makes malicious claims about plaintiff's physical characteristics. Defendant subsequently repeated the defamatory statements, alleging that plaintiff stalked Palmadessa. How are you going to prove that this is defamation, Scott? How are you going to prove points 124 and 125? Are you submitting a photo of your penis to the court? Are you going to, are you serious? Is this a serious case? Aaron, and she did say that. Why aren't you suing Laura? Because Aaron repeated it? I cannot believe this case got accepted, guys. This is insane. Aaron, literally, if you don't respond to this, that's on you, bro, because he's going to get a default judgment for saying he had a tiny dick. That is going to be insane. This will be, I don't even know what to call this. Put it on the table. Yeah. Blah, blah, blah. Before Swatty shit bucket. McGillicuddy. Scott's, I'm just asking questions. Yeah. No, Douglas, that would be my clitoris, which may be bigger than his penis. But I'm not involved in this case. They said he couldn't see his niece. That caused great mental anguish. I believe that is in fact true, Scott. That you are barred from seeing your niece right now by your niece's mother, your sister, who, by the way, you're also suing. How many subs did he lose after that statement? Yeah. He doesn't say. He doesn't say how many subs. Thank you for the super chat. He doesn't say how many subs he lost there. Had engaged in criminal or sexual misconduct. Such accusation, I don't know. Well, oh, good. We're going to throw Marissa in here. Marissa received funds from SPTV and states on defendant's video. Had restraining orders in West Virginia for touching his niece. Plaintiff has never had restraining orders issued against him in any jurisdiction for touching his niece. That is true. No allegations have ever been made and are false. Okay. He does have a restraining order against him in West Virginia. It's not for touching his niece. It's for a whole other situation. I don't know if it's still active or not. Yeah. So he's suing his sister. That's a whole other lawsuit. I'd have to look in the Chicago jurisdiction for that one. But he's actively suing his sister right now, guys. Yet he's not barred from seeing his niece, but he's going to sue his sister. There's so many conflicts here. Repeatedly published, endorsed, and amplified defamatory statements originally made by third parties, including live stream guests, chat participants, and other content creators. Under well-established principles of defamation law, one who repeats or publishes a defamatory statement is subject to liability as if he had originally published the statement himself. He knowingly, well, that's a stretch. Exercise editorial contract. Yes, he's in charge of it. Oh my God. They're still up. All of it is still making money. He should have taken it down. Okay. Criminal conduct presumption. Accusation implications, plaintiff engaged in criminal conduct, illegal drug possession, stalking, harassment, false police reports, doxing, misconduct involving a minor family member. He should get money. This is a lot of repeat stuff. Defamation per se. He keeps saying it. The meth, criminal stalking, doxing, swatting, misappropriated funds, engaged in sexual we would all still like to see the accounting, Scott, if you're going to use this as a reason. Where did all the money you got when you got out on bail that Laura was holding in a GoFundMe that you had her turn over to somebody else after you guys broke up? Where's all that money? And what did happen to the rest of the money that was raised for Josiah? Was that given to him to live his life? Or what's the deal? Okay. Count 2. Wow. Again, this is against SPTV because Aaron has that in his background. False light. Again, same charges. He's just using every argument that he can. Blah, 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 blah. Tortious interference. Okay. Prayer for relief. Let's see what he wants. Plaintiff respectfully requests that this court enter a judgment in favor of plaintiff and against defendants and award the following relief. Compensatory damages for harm to reputation, emotional distress, humiliation, and loss of business opportunities. I think your argument for emotional distress and humiliation is moot, Scott, based on your retaliatory constant clapback streams. Okay. It's a tit for tat, tit for tat, tit for tat. Presumed damages for defamation per se. General damages, guys, in the amount of $300,000 US. Special damages, including loss of subscriber, lost incomes, lost donations, and loss of professional opportunities. What professional opportunities? No one was booking you on shows, Scott. No one was doing that. Punitive damages to punish defendant and deter similar conduct. Declaratory relief. Declaring that the statements identified in this complaint are false and defamatory. Again, how are you going to prove that you don't have an eeny weeny, teeny tiny little peen without some sort of attestation from a medical professional? Injunctive relief, requiring the removal or correction of videos. Okay. Costs of this action and any other relief the court deems just and proper. Plaintiff demands a jury trial. A jury trial. That is Scotty's signature. Okay. Wow. Okay, Aaron, so you can see the case. Bro, you have today, well, sorry, the office is closed. You have tomorrow. You have the rest of today, tonight, to file a response to that shit, get it in and submitted to the court tomorrow, or Scott might get a default judgment against you and the fucking foundation with that trash dumpster fire of a fucking thing. Because he could, if you don't respond, Aaron, he can file for a default judgment. And a judge without a jury can look at the complaint and award him some amount of money. I think you should. I think you should do something about that. That's just a friendly tip. Okay, so those are the two court cases, all right, that Aaron Smith Levin has right now. He's not going to get awarded an appeal. You're late. You're too late. Too late for the second time. Okay? That's not going to happen. And also the fact that you didn't pay the fee this time because you didn't fundraise for it. The court is going to be like, I don't think so. Okay? Oh, yeah. Tyler, you're in the potential jury pool. Yeah. Yeah. If this becomes a default judgment, you'll be on the floor with tears of laughter. Me too, Mother Sgari. If Scott Hochstetter, because of Aaron Smith Levin's absolute fucking laziness and cheapness and refusal to just pay the bare minimum fees it takes to like file motions and shit without asking everybody for that money, when he supposedly, allegedly has the largest channel on YouTube, hosts the largest protests known to man, and with the revenue that he makes from his channel, cannot afford to pay a couple $100 to do that. I don't know. Yeah, he's also suing LAPD, streets, and no, I think he's not going to do the streets one. I think he said he's not going to file a suit against streets. But he is suing his sister, LAPD, Church of Scientology, the city of LA. Yeah. I don't know how Scott thinks this won't get him declared as a vexatious litigant in multiple states. Like, I'm sure he's going to take the time. He has folders on everyone, guys. That's not Scientology at all. Fucking keeping a file on people so that you can hit them with a gotcha. Here's your lawsuit. Like, he's like the Oprah of vexatious litigation. It's insane. And Scott, if you do decide to sue me, I want that quote in the suit. Okay. That I said you're the Oprah of vexatious litigation. Okay. I am prepared to stand off against you in court and defend myself vigorously and countersue for mental, physical, emotional, and hate crime distress with your homophobic rants that you have done against me. So I would suggest, Scott, to not, because I don't think that's going to go the way that you want. And as you have so learnedly pointed out, you have lost, a lot of subs and support. You have a few clingers. You got a few, leeches hanging on for the ride. I don't think they're going to sit through that, especially since you put the size of your penis in the fucking thing. How many other women have you had sex with, Scott? That's my question, because we all know that email was probably written by you or Auntie M or what's her name? Jay-Z, Z, whoever. One of you wrote that. It's just, no one uses the word trysts except for somebody who's reading way too many romance novels. Okay? And no one describes a penis with regards to meatiness, again, unless you are stuck in the Nora Roberts section of your local Walgreens for your book readings. Okay. So the fact that you put your penis, Scott, that you put your penis as evidence, that is, that's astounding, bro. That's astounding. That's really something to stand on. And if you do have a small penis, if you do in fact have a micropene, as has been alleged publicly by Laura, how do you prove you don't? Are you going to have other women that you have had, intercourse with come to testify to the length and girth of your penis? Is that what we're doing? We're going to testify to that? Because I don't think that's going to go well either. I don't think you're going to find women who are going to testify to that for you. We could also, on the other side, subpoena the people that you were in jail with, who you showered with. They will have witnessed your peen also. So that's possible. I mean, Can you imagine lining up witnesses and then the opposition is like, I actually have a photograph that was sent to me by Mr. Hochstetter of said peen. As you can see here, this is a Snickers bar for reference. That would just be, he's going to have a doctor testify. Your Honor, in my official capacity as a licensed proctologist, man parts doctor, I would like to state emphatically for the record, it's a normal peen. I don't know. This is so dumb. Seriously, Aaron, I know you're watching. You watch all the things I do. I know there's people in here watching for you, and they're going to tell you all about it. I am telling you right now, bro, you have tomorrow. The courts are closed on Friday, just as an FYI to you, because it's like a bank holiday Friday, because the 4th of July is Saturday. So Friday is a holiday. Nobody's open. So you gotta file this paperwork tomorrow on Thursday, or you are fucked. And his next move will to be filing for a default judgment. And he's going to win a case based on bullshit and you repeating something that somebody else said, that his penis was small. You gotta, please. Everyone is this is gonna be the dumbest thing that I've ever seen in my life. Okay. Let's talk about one other thing here, guys. My God. Yes, we were talking about Scott's alleged micropene and the fact that he submitted that comment as evidence of defamation. Scott, you have no way to prove that that statement is defamation. Are all the other ladies that you've had tryst with, are they going to testify? Is Auntie M going to testify? Is Z going to testify? Is the lady you're shacked up with going to testify? I don't think so. Today, guys, an article was put out by a Scientology escapee that I want to talk about. Actually, I was only going to talk about this today. I wasn't going to talk about this case stuff, but it came up and I thought about it and I was like, we really should clarify these dates because a lot of stuff's being published on Reddit and, all of that kind of stuff. And I like to try and be thorough and really dig into these things. So in a criminal case, you have 30 days. 30 days to submit an appeal, to state I'm appealing. Okay. And once you state that you're appealing, that 30-day clock, like that, you got that in. Now, the fact that Aaron already stated that he was going to do that in the Court of Appeals on the 28th, that's already late. And that was already denied. And he didn't continue that appeal. So now he's trying again, now that a new judge has been assigned to his case. And I really don't think that is going to go well either. So Tom DeVocht, for those of you guys who don't know, he was a senior high-level executive in the Church of Scientology for many years and was summarily kicked out by David Miscavige, endured abuse from David Miscavige, and is a single dad raising a teen daughter right now. He has some very strong opinions about some stuff. I'm going to let you hear it from him, and then I'm going to tell you my reactions to this. Okay. So let me pull this up here because I've been thinking about this all day since I read it this morning when I got up, and it's really caused me to just be angry today. Okay. And I'll explain that in a moment. So Tom says, wondering what happened? Listen, exposing the criminality is one thing. Doing the actual work to stop it is another. Oh, I'm so sorry. I said from the beginning, it would require a real project and very specific people stepping up and getting involved. The fact is, the few people who could actually do something about it, they know who they are either bought off, too afraid, or dead. Though to those silenced with money, shame on you. For those of you who have filed lawsuits to protect yourselves or seek justice, you have my complete support, and I'm here to help however I can. I hope you get everything you deserve, but not at the cost of your soul. To those supporting defectors who genuinely need help, more power to you. To the authors, filmmakers, journalists, and others who have documented Scientology's abuses and put credible information into the public record, thank you. Books, documentaries, major news stories, investigative reporting, and well-prepared legal cases have educated millions of people and probably saved countless others from getting involved. That matters. Should have stopped right there, Tom. All of that I 1,000,000% agreed with. Now, I don't know who you're naming here who's dead. In my personal opinion, I believe you are referring to Mike Rinder. Could he be referring to Mike Rinder? It's possible. I believe he is. But instead of stopping there, instead of stopping with what could have been a great message, let's all encourage this behavior. No. We go with the old tired argument. But there's another side to this. To those new and old painting sidewalks and engaging in endless infighting to generate attention or income, one day you might realize, or just maybe admit, who you really work for. Tom, fuck you. I'll say that directly to your face. You can come visit me here in Beaverton, Oregon. Fuck you. Fuck you. The constant noise doesn't expose anything new. It doesn't change policy. It doesn't stop abuses. It doesn't dismantle the organization. In my opinion, it mainly keeps Scientology alive and gives David Miscavige exactly what he needs to keep raising money and feeding the machine. If you benefit from that, well, I'll just leave it there. Also, fuck you. I never intended to be a part of that, and I won't be. I like being involved with people and things that, for lack of a better way of putting it, start, change, and stop things, because Tom has not fully removed himself from Scientology. Things that actually move the needle, not endless confusion reminiscent of the very organization they claim to oppose. Scientology is dead. David Miscavige is a big fish in a tiny, stinky, suffocating pond of his own making. The thriving Scientology you see in his glossy videos, blah, 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 we all know that's fake. Fine. It's the same internal propaganda campaign he's relied on for decades to stay relevant to Hubbard's followers, if you could even call them that, Tom, while the real organization has continued to shrink to the point of near non-existence, other than having enough money to buy more buildings. It's simply a matter of time before it implodes. Miscavige croaks and the whole thing flails around like a chicken without its head before finally falling flat. And then what happens, Tom? What happens to all that money? What happens to the billions of dollars in offshore accounts in the Caribbean and other places? Where does all that money go? When do people who suffered physical and permanent mental damage at the hands of this organization get their justice? It's simply a matter of time, blah, 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 blah. It isn't growing. Yes. It isn't surviving, except for the attention and energy continually breathed back into it. As for me, I hate wasting my time. Me too, Tom. Me too. I'm raising my almost teenage daughter who seems to think she's already 19. I'm building a business I genuinely enjoy. Good for you. Kudos. Snaps. Okay. I'm surrounded by good people. Great. Fantastic. I'd rather spend my time creating something than endlessly revisiting something that once again I've been convinced belongs in my past. So that's where I went again. Anyway, would you please take a minute to cancel your paid subscription? Blah, 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 blah. It's a much happier place than looking backward and endlessly regurgitating the past. Sink your teeth into something worthwhile. Okay, this phrase that keeps being used anytime somebody brings up people who engaged in criminal activities while in positions of power inside Scientology, or people who are engaging in criminal activities in the now times against Scientologists and former Scientologists, that is not infighting. Okay? By definition, Tom, since you're so keen on continuing to practice Scientology, let's do some word clearing. Infighting. Okay. Infighting refers to hidden, prolonged, or bitter conflict, rivalry, or competition between members of the same group, organization, or political party. It typically centers on gaining influence, securing resources, or promoting individual agendas rather than fighting external opponents. So, Tom, when somebody does mention that Mike Rinder is an unindicted conspirator and co-conspirator in numerous crimes while he worked for the Church of Scientology under David Miscavige and L. Ron Hubbard, is that infighting? When someone states facts about Aaron Smith Levin's criminal record and his abusive behavior to his interpersonal and sexual trysts, is that infighting? Because trust me, I didn't gain nothing from that. Okay? Infighting implies that somebody is trying to maneuver their way to the head of the bus, pointing out facts, okay, about anybody, including me, including you, about their time in the, grotesque organization, the criminal organization known colloquially as Scientology, is not infighting. Okay? None of us, and I do mean none of us, zero people, okay, who were in Scientology, especially people in the indentured servitude, left that work without having a negative impact on themselves or the people around them. Because practicing Scientology by its nature, enforcing Scientology's rules, edicts, the orders, all of that shit is damaging. Now, some of those activities are actual crimes. as the law declares in the country and state and county in which they occurred. Some are, bad behavior that probably negatively affected the people that they enacted that behavior on while not illegal. Okay? Now, I have talked very frankly about my personal participation in indoctrinating men, women, and children in the course of my job as a word clearer and supervisor in the classrooms of Celebrity Center International. For 5 years, I did that. Okay. And then for 3 years, my job was basically the chief supervisor. I supervised all the other supervisors and word clearers on the rehabilitation project force, indoctrinating, approximately 400 people on how to interrogate each other. I did that. Was that beneficial for any of those people? Absolutely the fuck not. Do I regret that? Yes. Am I willing to say I did that? Yes. And anybody who wants to come to me and tell me how that negatively affected their life, my instruction in that stuff, I'm willing to hear that out. I'm willing to have a discussion about that. Now, is that actionable in the case, in the court of law anywhere? No. Do I have fear of reprisal? No. But do people like Mike Rinder and Claire have fear of reprisal legally? Possibly. It's a very small possibility. Why? Because we're talking 30 years ago now at this point for Claire. Almost 30 years ago. I'm pretty sure most of those things are not actionable. Mike Rinder's dead. So there's nothing that can be done to him legally or his family. Okay? Because his widow, Christy, had nothing to do with him during the time she was in the Sea Org, because she was the same age as his daughter. So most of the time he knew her in the Sea Organization. She was a minor. Okay? So there's no fear of something coming back on his kid that she's currently raising. Okay? His other children are adults. And they have publicly said that they don't want anything to do with him. So you can't say, I don't want anything to do with him, and then sue for damages. It doesn't work that way. Okay? So to all the people, including Tom DeVocht, who want to get the fuck on with your life, go for it. Go for it. I got no problems, Tom, with you focusing on raising one teen. Okay? I'm on the last 2. Done. I got 4 total. So I understand how much work one teenager is. Okay? Get it. Understood. Okay? I got 2 more to go, which I'm also doing. Thank God, with my wife. Okay? It does, you don't get a fucking gold star, Tom. Good job for being a parent. Congrats. Like, welcome to the club of, millions of Americans doing the same motherfucking thing, Tom. Okay? And if you don't want to talk about it anymore, don't talk about it. But if you're going to remove yourself from any and all action regarding the protest of Scientology, then just shut the fuck up. Okay? You don't get a say then, Tom. If you're not protesting, you're not doing anything, you're not showing up for the meetings, you didn't like the team of Avengers that got assembled. Okay. So you decide you don't want to do it. Great. Then shut the fuck up. It's the same exact way that I feel about people who don't vote at all. And then they want to bitch about the government. Fuck you. Okay? You took yourself out of the conversation by not voting. Now you don't get a bitch about the results of the vote. Okay? You don't get a bitch about that. Okay? You didn't say my name. Maybe you weren't even talking about me, Tom. Maybe you didn't even think about me when you wrote that. Maybe you were thinking about somebody else. Okay? And if you were thinking about somebody else and you decided to write a whole fucking thing, then just say it. Or shut the fuck up. Like this is where I get pissed off. Don't label things infighting that are valid people fighting back against someone who's still actively practicing Scientology on their channel as part of their foundation, spying on people, using them, fucking using a public platform to try and destroy people while committing criminal acts that they are now on probation for and have a criminal record as a violent, convicted criminal. Okay, please, if you're not here to help the people who have been actually harmed by that person and to help, level the playing field, shut the fuck up. Okay? It's so stupid. It's not infighting. Why not? It's not infighting. Infighting would be me and Aaron going at each other because, I supported Scott when he didn't support Scott. And we have a debate about that. That's infighting. Infighting would be if what's happening in the Republican Party right now, right? Some people, some Republicans who are like, I don't support Trump. And then they lose their fucking election. That's infighting. Okay? It's not the same as the people who stand up and say, release the Epstein files. Trump's name is in there, bumpity bump times. Get rid of this man. That's not infighting. Even if that comes from a Republican, that is an individual standing up for victims and attempting to get justice. Okay? Infighting is just noise meant to distract. It is not based in factual shit. And you have to be a member of the same group. Aaron and I are not a member of the same group in any way, shape, or form. So we can't be infighting because we're not in the same group. Therefore, that word does not compute. Okay? And even if he wasn't referring to me, Lindsay, I don't care. I'm tired. I'm exhausted with these people who have status based on the fact that they were in the organizations causing and shoving down the throats of the far majority of the indentured servants, edicts and rules that harmed thousands of people who have left, who are living their best life, who have to constantly insert themselves back into a conversation that they have excused themselves from to say, you're not doing it right. This is why I won't do it. Because either state your piece and tell the truth about the things you know the truth about, or shut the fuck up. I said this was going to be extra spicy today, guys. I wasn't lying. Okay? I am literally done. I am tired of people trying to dictate what people can be okay, what people we put superhero capes on, what people we're not allowed to talk about, blah, blah, blah. Okay? If you do something in the public, that is allowed to be discussed amongst the public. That's how the First Amendment works. Okay? It's either all on the table or nothing's on the table. You're either participating or you're on the sidelines. You're not even on the sidelines. You're not even at the game. Okay? If you're not at the game, you didn't buy tickets. Okay? You don't support either team. You don't fucking care. You've moved on. Shut the fuck up. Okay? Because all that does, Tom, is decide to put attention on you where you're like, I don't want attention on me. I don't want to be part of this. Then just don't be a part of it. Like, delete your Substack. Delete it. If you feel like nothing you said was important or it's not worth it, delete it and go on and live your life, Tom. Okay? Because there are literally criminals that are still out here who need to be brought to justice. Debbie Cook, okay, who's, I'm sure, one of the people you talked about who's bought off by fucking money, okay? There are other high-ranking people besides Claire Headley out there who knew of, covered up, or contributed to crimes against children, against the elderly, against, regular aged humans, okay? This is this is something that's facts. Now, this is where I get frustrated, okay? And this is where the spiciness comes in, okay? We have two prominent figures in the ex-Scientology world who were both very high-ranking individuals who had knowledge of or, in fact, ordered or executed orders to do things, enforce Scientology rules and edicts that covered up crimes, committed crimes, transferred criminals from one place to another, worked very doggedly to make sure nobody knew about the crimes, okay? Well, actually, there's more than two. So you have Mike Rinder, who is now dead, who had, out of all the people who have left, besides Marty Rathbun, who had the most knowledge of things that happened within the entirety of Scientology, who then was bought off, okay? You have Mike Rinder, Claire Headley, okay, who was all the way at the top, guys, directly reporting to David Miscavige as a member of the Religious Technology Center Watchdog Committee, okay? The only thing higher than that is where Dylan was in the super secret sauce, okay? But in terms of her internal operational knowledge, she would have a lot of that across the whole of Scientology. Then you get into specialized people like Debbie Cook, who knew everything that was going on for every department, every individual inside of the mecca of technical perfection there in Clearwater, Florida. Okay? Then you had people under Debbie Cook, like Don Jason, okay, who did speak out in the Tampa Bay Times article, but that's it. I would love for Don Jason to talk more about all of the things that he witnessed and knew. I would love to ask him some very important questions, like how many times did you have Matt Pesh use that slush fund to transfer fucking, sex offenders out of the district? How much money do you think was used to do that? Okay, and let's talk about Matt Pesh, who in his capacity and access to money used to run the slush fund, which he laughed about on a live stream with Jeff Augustine on his channel, a slush fund to move criminals and victims around out of the jurisdiction so they could not be criminally prosecuted. And then you have his wife, Amy Scobie, who was the highest ranking person in charge of Celebrity Center and all of the Celebrity Center network, who personally oversaw, the outright torture and inhumane treatment and shuffling of offenders throughout that individual network. Now, why do I bring all those guys up? Why is it specific? Because those are the board members of the Aftermath Foundation. They literally named the foundation the Michael J. Rinder Aftermath Foundation. And yes, when I use the analogy of having a Jewish Holocaust foundation named after Joseph Goebbels, I mean it. Because that's what naming something Michael J. Rinder, I would say the same thing if it was called the Marty Rathbun Aftermath Foundation. Every single one of those people executed criminal activities while inside Scientology. They should have no association with trauma victims, no authority over who gets help after leaving that criminal organization in any way, shape, or form. That is just re-traumatizing people and allowing criminals, unindicted criminals, to mask their criminality with philanthropy. It's gross. Okay? Just because Mike Rinder wrote a book, which did not tell all, just because he was Leah Remini's co-host on a show, he never put himself in the room where it happened. Not once. Not a single fucking time. That is unacceptable to me. Now, I'm not the judge and jury. I don't decide everything, but it should be unacceptable to everyone that a unindicted criminal is the name of a foundation to help people that he did criminal acts to while he was there. Because people leaving in the now time, I don't have a statistic on this. I don't think it's only people who have never interacted with Michael Rinder and they didn't know who he was and he wasn't there. I don't think it's just them, because there is a generation of people who were working with Mike Rinder and Claire and Amy Scobie and Matt, who are old as fuck, who have no retirement, no health care, no lodging, nothing planned to help them. Scientology is about to be in a massive crisis. This is why they have started their push for children to get indoctrinated even earlier, because they are having a generation, 70-plus-year-olds, that are aging out of their ability to work, that are dying, coming down with old people diseases, okay, which is a natural part of life, which they will not receive proper medical care for. Those are the people that worked with those criminals. And now they're going to ask them for help? What in the actual fuck? What in the actual fuck? Okay? I'm not saying destroy the Aftermath Foundation. Okay? I'm not saying that. I'm saying, number one, that name has got to go. You cannot name it after like the number 3 criminal. Actually, we'll give him number 4. L. Ron Hubbard, number 1. David Miscavige, number 2. Marty Rathbun, number 3. Mike Rinder, number 4. He's only number 4, okay? But the 4th biggest criminal in the history of Scientology, you can't do that. That's insane, okay? And all those people I just talked about, including Claire's husband, Mark, you got to retire. You got to excuse yourself from the board and hire people who are not former Scientologists, who have some fucking trauma training, who give a shit about helping people altruistically without strings attached, without all this shit, okay? Don't have any former members involved, except for on an advisory role to verify that people who are applying are, in fact, former Scientologists and not just people like fraudulently applying for funds, okay? That's it. Okay? Yeah, exactly, Tyler. Exactly. You see frail old women in bellhop uniforms shuffling across Fort Harrison Avenue with bent backs every week. It is sad. It's sad, and it's elderly abuse. Okay? So it's gross what they're doing to these old members. They should all be retired. They should be being taken care of. Yeah. There is no retirement from this year. There is only death or being, kicked out. Okay. Do I think people are afraid of Claire because of her role in RTC? I think there are people who have left who are definitely afraid because of her role in RTC and are put off by the prospect of asking a former RTC rep for anything. Because those bitches, and I say bitches because they were mostly women, they were fucking fierce and scary AF. And if one of them was up your ass, you were fucked. You were totally fucked. There was no escape. No one was coming to help you. Okay? Yes, Amy Scobie was a fucking hell-raising cunt when she was in Scientology. Is she that now? No. Is Claire a psycho hose beast right now? I don't think so. Okay? That doesn't matter. What matters is actionable crimes happened. And when you have done crimes, you should not be in charge of helping trauma victims that you did crimes against. Okay? Unless you are specifically seeking to seek amends from those people that you harmed, that's a totally different situation. Okay? That's a totally different scenario. I applaud that. Go seek to make amends to those who you harmed. Okay? But no, you should not be running a foundation or the decider on a foundation of who is worthy of help. And if they've been out too long, oh no, we can't help them. Because one thing I can tell you guys, in being in active therapy and doing work to heal myself, okay, is that is not a 1 minute process. It is not it's not something that you can just turn off, because that's exactly what Scientology does to a human being. It teaches you to separate yourself from yourself and to not experience emotion, to not experience empathy, compassion, to not allow yourself your own humanity. Recovering the ability to do that, okay? Recovering your ability to actually just simply be a human is a day-to-day fucking experience that is a struggle. It is hard. It is exhausting. It is constant. Okay? And if you do none of that work, because you still hold on to firmly, indoctrinated beliefs about therapy, therapists, etc., again, I say you have no business being anywhere near traumatized people as a point of authority. Okay? Because your solutions are not trauma informed, they are not positive, and will not result in actual help. Now, that's not to say that the charity can just help everybody with everything that they desire and just throw money at people like they're Oprah. Of course they can't. They have to have funding. It has to be done responsibly. I get all of that. But time and time again, this, quote, infighting that has happened, Tom, has continued by the people who were officers, high-ranking, authoritative, fucking, guards of the system, enforcers, if we want to use a mafia term, to say, no soup for you, no help for you. Oh, you want that? You can't have that. We don't like that thing. Oh, you've been out for 5 years? Tough tits. And it's the same thing in Aaron's alleged foundation. Right? Always a quid pro quo. Look what happened to Reese. Okay? And they did the same thing with Sergio Belinsky and the Aftermath Foundation. Don't even get me started on that. I could do a million hours on that bullshit documentary that they put out about Sergio Belinsky and lied through it. That was a puff piece, self-aggrandizement puff piece, mostly for Mark and a little bit for Claire. They talked more about themselves and all the things they did for Serge than Serge's story. You don't believe me? Go watch it. Go watch it. Go watch the big documentary they put together about Sergio Belinsky. It is grotesque. Now, here's a man that they are still supporting, because why? Because he did the documentary. Not because an organization like the Aftermath Foundation should absolutely, without a fucking question in your mind, support Serge fucking Obelinsky for the rest of his life. After people like you fucking saw his no-handed ass begging on the streets outside of where you were working. Shame on all of you. There's a 0% chance that during those years of him living like a barking seal on the streets of Hollywood, none of you ever saw him. I don't fucking believe it. He doesn't owe you anything. He doesn't owe you his story or his time. And by the way, you guys didn't get him into the home. A social worker in California did. So stop taking credit for shit that you didn't fucking do. Anyway, this is where I have problems, guys. This is where I have problems. Where there's dishonesty, where there's underhandedness, where there's a fucking whitewashing cover-up of crimes. No. So, yeah. People should be able to trust a charity to just fucking help them out. The charity's there. Hey, Laura. Laura says, hey, hot and spicy. I got a little message from a birdie about an hour ago saying my testimony may be needed regarding a toxic nub. It's a fact. The judge can ask him to drop him in court. I love you so much, Laura. Guys, Laura and I have known each other for quite a while, for a number of years. And we have publicly disagreed about things. But guess what? That's okay. Because we're friends, and you can disagree with your friend and still maintain a friendship, right? And we have different approaches on things. And I love Laura's approach, and sometimes she thinks mine is good. No, I'm just kidding. It's like, it's okay. Okay? And I know a lot of you guys who protest, you don't agree with everything that I say all the time, and that's okay too. But I have never known Laura to lie, okay, about herself, about other people, or anything like that. So when this tidbit of information first came out, and I didn't ask Laura about it, it was like a rumor. When she did tell me, I was like, okay, I believe you. That's not something I need personal eyes on to verify. I believe her. Notice in the lawsuit that Scott didn't say that Laura had lied. He just said that Aaron repeated a defamatory statement. It can only be defamatory, Scott, if it's a lie. That's a real important point. Mm-hmm. Oh, Rosemary. Yeah, same thing. Same thing. Quid pro quo. Can't help Rosemary out unless she agrees to do XYZ. Fuck you guys. Somebody like Rosemary should be 100% supported by your foundation for the rest of her motherfucking life. Period. The end. Okay? Like, why is that even a question? I know, Laura. I know. It is gross. And it's never been your thing, honey. Because you are a truth teller, which probably got you in more trouble in Scientology than anything else. Because you weren't willing to go along to get along, And I admire the fuck out of you for that. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Okay, well, I'm glad Laura jumped in here to verify that moment. I'm sorry that I think you should sue Scott for emotional distress, Laura. And false advertisement. Oh, my goodness. Now I'm just being petty. But I said it was going to be super spicy, guys. I gave you the disclaimer at the beginning that it was going to be a spicy stream. So let's just recap this nonsense. First of all, Aaron, you're too late for an appeal, honey. Okay? You got to let it go. You also told your audience you definitely weren't. It's too expensive. You weren't going to do it. And then 2 days later, you fucking filed an appeal. You gotta start telling the truth, honey. Okay? You got to start telling the truth. Scott, sorry, you cannot sue people for saying that your penis is small without like some sort of attached proof proving otherwise. Okay? In order for defamation to stick, it has to be not true. Okay? It has to be false. So Aaron, you have tomorrow to file a response to this. Just go through my transcript, honey. I broke a lot of it down. Okay? I give you permission to just use my transcript as a rebuttal. Okay? I don't care. You got to do that because if this man gets a default judgment against you, that's on you. That is on you. Okay? Tom DeVocht, I have respect for you as a father, as somebody who left, and for what you did in both the Going Clear movie and on Leah's show. I respect the hell out of you for telling a lot of hard truths, most of which, by the way, was cut out of the show. I was in the office the day that you were having that conversation with Mike and Leah, and I admired the way you pushed back on Mike about certain things that was not put into the series. I don't have hard feelings again. I don't hate you. I just want to make that abundantly clear. I'm pissed about what you said. And my honest opinion about anybody who is going to echo this opinion, shut the fuck up. Okay? Because that doesn't help the people who are trying to get things done. To constantly be shat on by people who are saying, well, I'm not doing any of it, but you guys stop it. Okay? It doesn't help. I think you have valuable things to say and do. And if you choose to focus on your life now and not about the things that happen, that's okay. No one will hold that against you. You're free to do whatever you want. Okay? All right, guys. I've got things to do here at home. Like, laundry and exciting shit like that. Tomorrow's Thursday. Yes. And then Friday's the 3rd. So I'll probably be back, Beangate. I'll probably be back tomorrow. You can't get the tight pants out of your mind. Yeah, that was a funny one. That's a funny one. The other guys, the copyright strike, my appeal got approved. That'll be back. Aaron's not hiring a copyright lawyer. He's just being sad and petty like he did with Scott. Now, that evidence, that might actually win his case. If he had just stayed to that, oh, thank you, One Love. That's very kind of you. Thank you for that. Oh, and there's other pinned comments here that I didn't get to. Is it calendar days or calendar days? He's a doll. Calendar days for the appeal, not business days. So there's no girl. Laura wants to state all the facts, guys. You heard it here. Microgate. Next up, birth canal diameters. Yeah. We could have a clit off or something. I don't know. My God. I should go to the bathroom before I probably have an accident from laughing too hard. This is insane. It's kind of insane, guys. But there you go. Saved you the having to go read 90 pages of Scott's thing and etc. But yeah, that's what's going on. I'm sure people will have a rebuttal, and that's fine. That's their right. That's their right to rebut whatever. Permgate. Am I still streaming your 3s tomorrow? Yes, I am. Tomorrow afternoon at 2:15 p.m. my time and 4:15 p.m. Reese's time. I have it on my calendar. I will be on Relatable Reese's channel. I may have something that morning. I don't know. We'll see. See how I'm feeling. You want beef with me over canal size? Well, you might win that one, Anne. But see, with women, it's supposed to be the opposite, right? We're supposed to be tight. Yes, tight. Do your kegels, ladies. Oh my God, this stream is off the rails. Oh, you're going to go back to Chainsaw the Dead Branches. Love you. Love you, Laura. All right, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for the gifted memberships, the super chats. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for watching all the shorts and everything that I'm putting out as well. Thank you to, of course, my mod mafia. I couldn't do this without you. If you're on the replay crew, please hit that like. I love you. Thank you. And I will see you all on the flippity dippity.
Lincoln 30 to dispatch. Yeah, that's a wild goose chase over here at Nakatomi Plaza. Everything here's okay. Over. Let it snow, let it snow, let it... God, everything is okay! Welcome to the party, pal!
I'm not ready to make night.